Hey, folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I'm Robert, and that over there is John. John, it's Monday night. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, doing all right, kind of loosened up.
Feel like shooting the shit
Ready?
a little?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
before we get too deep into this, I got something to put out there.
Oh
I,
shit.
I was challenged, as it were, to a debate. I believe the quote was Lincoln Douglas style.
Yeah.
J. Edgar has called me out on my take on gun legislation and or the Second Amendment, or as it all is in just one big nutshell. So I've accepted his challenge. I'm gonna go at it with him. Um, I believe he's gonna bring a moderator to the table,
It's gonna be
and
serious?
yeah, there's gonna be this is I think he's looking for good old fashioned debate style, which is good,
No shit.
which is fine. Uh,
Yeah.
but you know, it's my platform. My stance on this. I'm not against guns. That's the key.
But
That's the key here. I'm not against guns. What I'm against is the chicken little mindset that goes on in this country about guns. And I think I can show the kind of statistics that will prove that that mindset is illegitimate. It's a
yeah.
fallacy.
Hmm.
And then, of course, my other premise is that the intent of the Second Amendment when it was written was a time relevant writing. I don't
Hmm.
think that what they wrote in that day and age can be interpreted word for word to suit today's day and age. I just don't think it's possible. So that's where I stand on this because I'm I'm pro gun. Have your guns. I don't have a problem with that. I just I don't think they're trying to take them away from us as much as everybody thinks they are.
Well, that'll be a really interesting debate then.
Yeah.
Can't wait. It'll be fun.
Hopefully, I'll even be able to throw out a few facts that'll ring your bell, John. I've looked at a few things and I'm like, even I was surprised by. I was like, damn, didn't realize that. So,
Yeah, maybe.
so hang
I
tight.
mean,
So
I'm,
it may
I'm by
go
I'm by
ahead.
no means an expert or anything like that.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not like I've studied, gun law or anything like that.
Well, neither am I.
Yeah.
I grew up at a time where guns were guns. Guns were real. Guns were a thing. Guns were an expectation.
Hmm.
But so was a healthy respect for guns and a healthy
Right.
respect for what guns were necessary for. And that's changed. A lot of that has changed this day and age, and it's quite surprising. But that's who we are as a country. We grow and we evolve, and sometimes we're going to evolve into monstrous beings, and then sometimes we're going to evolve into very forthright and upstanding people. I think we're going to eventually swing back to where we used to and have
Oh yeah.
standards, but I don't know when. I don't know what it's going to take. What do you think, John? Do you think that for us to get back on track, or even like, okay, just on a national level, do you think it's going to take something catastrophic?
I mean, I think it's just a natural like movement of culture. The pendulum swings really far in one direction, and then it kind of swings back in the other. Like, people get sick of this extreme. It swings back in the other direction, but it doesn't go all the way back. And then so it'll eventually just kind of settle in to some sort of semi-permanent stasis or yeah place.
Well, I honestly believe that there are almost defining moments in those swings, as it were, that you talk about.
Shit.
So
Sure.
not to go on to get into the topic at all, but just as a point of reference, you take gun law, gun
Hmm.
legislation, the Brady Act, the shooting of Ronald Reagan. That was a catalyst for a change
Yeah.
in how we looked at guns and instituted a lot of call for legislation, and I think really started that pendulum swing that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and then even more so that kicked it even further. This was one of those where it didn't swing it back; it kicked it further in the direction was 9/11.
Oh yeah.
So I think that and in we swing sometimes that pendulum really gets swung out there, but I think that it's going to take something. It typically takes something to really push it back the other way. You know, I don't know. It's how we are right now about so many different cultural issues, racism, for instance. What kind of catalyst do we need? You know the is something like Jussie Smollett big enough? Can it become big enough
Well, I think it's made
to
a lot of people
swing the pendulum
realize.
back away from it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's made a lot of people realize, that not everything that they, their reactions are not always the correct reaction. Like a reactionary response.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I
see
know
this
about
thing, and
reactionary response, right?
yeah,
Right.
it's like despite the evidence looking the other way, everyone's saying this, so I'm going to believe this. People are starting to realize that the media isn't an information, distributor. It's a propaganda distributor. So I think a lot
Absolutely.
of people are starting to realize that more and
And
more.
and this is the only, I guess this is the double-edged sword to the internet, to this much access to this much information on a global level, is that you have so many people trying to find out more information and expose information, and so we are confronted with so much
Hmm.
that we have access to so much. But when we do when we do demand transparency on things that have been discovered or talked about or brought to light, when the information is disseminated to us, whether it's a freedom of information situation or whatever, what we get is so redacted, so withheld,
Yeah.
that we never really get a clear picture of anything. I mean, take JFK's shooting. They released documents about that whole investigation,
Oh yeah.
but it didn't answer questions. And there was so much that was redacted from it that it was almost pointless. It's like, well,
Yeah.
what, what transparency is there in that? I mean, is it possible to have transparency in government? Because would we really want to see what truly goes on?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get full transparency. Not without completely dismantling the government as an institution. I don't think it'll happen. No.
Too much transparency would expose too much corruption. You think?
It would expose too much corruption. I mean, the main argument is always, there's things that we don't want, things that we know that we don't want to fall into, potential and like an enemy state's hands. So these things need to be kept classified. So, and I can see where they're coming from on that. But I do think that, yeah, they're not as transparent as they could be, like reasonably.
Yeah. So I kind of teeter back and forth on this to where it's I don't know. I get if I think we're comfortable with the level of corruption, so then I ask myself, if there was more transparency, is it only corruption if we know about it? It's not livable anymore. I mean, can we not make our peace with the corruption if we see that the corruption is happening, as opposed to
Well,
just knowing the corruption is happening?
I mean, I think corruption is inevitable, and that's what people accept. I don't think that they like it. I don't think that they're saying, oh, well, this is fine. I think that people just realize that there's no way to not have some amount of corruption.
Are you so? So does that mean you make your peace with it?
Mm.
Is that what we tend to do? Is make our peace with it?
I guess most people probably think that there's nothing I can do about it, right? So, I'll
Do
just bitch about it, but nothing I can really do.
do you feel that impotent?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say so.
Wow. That's
I mean,
it's
there's nothing. I mean, what can I do, right? I mean, I'm just one person.
see, and that seems to fly in the face of so much. You know what I mean? It's of what we are as Americans, what we're supposed to represent, what America is supposed to represent for us. It just seems to
Hmm.
fly in the face. We should not be an impotent citizenry. Yet
Right.
many of us feel that we are.
Well, I think not enough people, think the same way. You know what I mean? So if we can, and that's kind of what I can do here with this platform on YouTube. Try and convince people to think my way, or at least more towards my way.
Really?
So
So
I don't
so
think that's completely impotent, but I mean, as for right now, yeah,
so you want to convince more people to think your way.
of course.
See, I thought we were just trying to get people to think in the first place.
Mm,
But if we want them to think our way,
I mean, if you want to think a certain way, you have to think, right?
that's true.
I mean, going a
That makes
step further
sense.
than that.
So, who are you voting for in 2020 so far?
I don't know. Seems like Trump is going to be the only one that's any good. So, saw a poll earlier that had Biden at 28%, and then Sanders was at like 25, and then third place was Elizabeth Warren with 8% approval rate, or 8%,
Now, is
approval.
that? Do you think a lot of that is name recognition this early in the
Probably,
game?
probably
Not enough people are familiar with who Elizabeth Warren is and what she
not as
does, right?
much. But I think with Biden though, it's more like harkening back to a time before Trump. So people are like, yes, let's do that again.
Because they're
You know,
associating him with Obama.
right?
Yet, the takeaway from the Obama administration that I have for Joe Biden was that he was kind of a wild card, and mostly from a public perspective. Like
Yeah.
when he
Well, I
would
mean, he was a
talk.
gaff machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, midget B,
What's up, Midget Boo?
bruh.
Creepy Uncle Joe. Yeah. But yeah, so he would.
Hang on one sec, midget B. Check it out. Just got this today. Came in the mail. It's awesome. Art of Warfare in the Napoleonic, or in the Age of Napoleon.
It's just like a bunch of paintings that they did back then.
No, it goes through like the different tactics, that you
Oh,
would use.
because it said the art. So
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Art of War by Sun Tzu, but like a little bit, newer.
God.
It has some cool pictures in it too. Like let's see, here's some kind of, what is that? Oh, just a classic linear formation. So you have that.
It's classic.
Yeah, it's got drawings of like cannons and their inner workings, things like that. It's pretty sweet. I looked at it a little bit earlier before we started this. It's pretty
Sweet.
cool. Can't wait to get into it.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. So anyway, Joe Biden. I don't know. He doesn't resonate strong enough from the Obama era for me. I think
Well, no, I think that's just what a lot of people, have
yeah,
that kind of what is it called? Word association.
right.
Obama Biden.
Then he's going to talk. He'll talk and
Yeah,
he'll blow all those perceptions of him. But Bernie, I don't know, Bernie.
yeah. It's kind of funny that they're both white men that have the most approval rating in the Democratic
Yeah,
Party.
it's going to be sad too because it's going to be like the top two candidates in that perspective are white males, older white males, and they're going to have to slap down no less than three female Democratic candidates as it stands right now. Because we've got, well,
Yeah,
wait, there's at four. Because we got Tulsi Gabbard, we've got the lady you
Elizabeth
just
Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Uh,
Yeah, but she's a
get
minority.
get it get, get you, the lady with the G. I can never get her name out proper.
What, Tulsi Gabbard?
No, not Gabbard. The other one. Is it a
Which
G?
one? You sure it's a G?
Probably not. I am 50. I'd remember it if I were
You are ancient.
45.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah, I
that
don't
meant
remember.
I hope that meant you were pulling up a list.
No.
Of course not. Thanks,
Ah,
John.
fuck it. Fine, I will. God damn
Whatever.
it.
You're supposed to be the Google guy. It says it on your shirt. Google guy.
No, it says Marilyn Manson.
Well, I couldn't make that out, so I
Jesus.
was just going with what I could figure out.
There we go.
Stephen Ignoramus
Uh,
in the house. Amy Clam
Corey.
Boofer.
We got Wait, what?
Stephen Ignoramus. Amy Clam Boofer.
Amy Clam Boofer. Nice. Boof. Yeah, we got Cory Booker, Pete Buttigieg, which so good luck with it. Good luck for him. Julian Castro, John Delaney. Wait, didn't he? Isn't that the guy from Trailer Park Boys?
From
I was
what?
pretty sure from Trailer Park Boys. John Delaney. I don't know.
Oh, it sounds
Obviously, a
familiar.
different guy.
Suddenly it sounds familiar.
Yeah, Kirsten Gillibrand is who you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh my God, John Hickenlooper or Hickenlooper. Yeah, good luck to him.
I like that. Hashtag Yang Gang. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'll
Yeah,
be.
Andrew Yang is here at the bottom from Schenectady.
I'm just saying, man. Watch. Let's see what happens with this guy. He
He's got a lot
may.
of 4chan support, so he actually has a decent chance at getting, some kind of recognition.
I mean, it's he's got an interesting platform, and now with midget saying something, that's the second time because you remember I was over the weekend, and I was asked about it by, or was it last weekend? Asked about it by Cameron, who
Mm.
had stopped by. So it's I don't know, man. People will start noticing him.
And yeah, Stephen Ignoramus, that was the issue that I had with him. First place I went when Robert sent me the link to his policy site. I was like, let's see what he says on guns. Oh, nope. Can't support him.
Because it should be treated as a privilege.
No, that's what he says, yeah.
Well, that's I wish that couldn't be interpreted multiple ways.
And UBI will only devalue the dollar and breed lazy fucks. Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
It
I mean, it'll
could
breed
very
more
well.
lazy fucks. I don't think it'll breed only lazy fucks, but it'll certainly breed more.
Yeah. I mean,
Do
it's
that.
not like we don't have our fair share already.
Oh,
Jake from
shit.
Freedom Scoop. Geez, your stream is interrupting karaoke with my kids. Thanks, guys.
Well, I
Do
mean,
you want us to do some karaoke? I mean, what do you want to sing,
yeah,
John?
we could do some karaoke.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Ebony and Ivory?
Ebony and Ivory might be good. Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Don't go breaking my heart.
Don't sing
Yeah.
it, John, please. I was
But
kidding.
that's
Don't
what
sing it.
karaoke is.
If you're gonna sing, don't do it out loud.
Oh.
Move your lips, lip sync. That'll be best for you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, there's things about Yang that there's a very progressive mindset there that I don't know that we're ready for. That's the part. I'm mostly curious to see how much of the population he can sway, how much of some of these conversations he can get started. Because these are real conversations that are going to be going on over the next, I don't know, 10 to 20 years that are going to
Yeah.
become more and more real, some of these things. So,
Hashtag Yang Bang.
nice.
That is pretty
Nice.
good.
Oh, that gave me a little chill.
Right?
I'm a, I'm a Yang banger. I'm a Yang banger.
Don't.
No,
If I can't sing, you can't do that. Whatever that was.
I was trying to come up with something. Some, something for my boy. For my boy Yang. Can't just sit around
God.
yanging off all the time.
I thought I
Yeah.
said stop.
Hey, I burned all my creative juices with the title of the show, and that wasn't saying much.
Yeah. I did like it, though. We're all Yang Bangers.
We're all Yang bangers. I like it.
And yang bangers are all of us.
So I don't know. He's got and Kamala Harris. That's the other one. So it is four women. Two older white males are going to have to knock down count them, four women at least, and that's not going to be good. Jesus, the level of the patriarchy talk is going to be through the roof. Whammon, exactly.
All the women's.
The whammons
One,
are going to be
two,
off the
three,
rail, and I mean, and you're
4,
going
5, 6 women. 6 women.
already six.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Marianne Williamson, who looks milquetoast as fuck. Like, she looks like I don't know. She looks like an extra in a movie that you just kind of see in the background, sitting at a table. Like, there's just nothing remarkable about her whatsoever.
That's true for most of the politicians I see in Washington. The ones that aren't like that are the ones that are getting FaceTime. I think they do pick the prettier people to stand up in front of cameras.
She's running out of California.
Ooh, talk about progressive.
Oh, she's running for representative. Never mind. So she's not running for president.
She's running from California.
It says she either lives or is from Houston, Texas.
It sounds like
Yeah,
you got
because
a
she's
boner for
running.
this woman.
Well, no, I'm just trying to understand the site and what it's trying to tell me.
Well, if
Yeah, so they're not all running for president.
yeah, that's the thing. You gotta look at just.
Oh no! They are okay. No, my bad. They are running for president. This is their experience. This is what they are now.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah.
talking, and
So
who is
like
it you're talking about?
Pete Buttigieg is from. He's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah,
South Bend.
he's gonna have to
Buttigieg.
run
Come on,
under.
guys.
He's gonna have to run under a different name, I think.
Yeah.
But
There was I forget what it was, in Montana. There was someone running for like governor, and his last name was Fag, Fagg. There was some good memes from that.
hey, I have just come up with a great idea for a drinking game.
All right.
So, basically,
Sure.
it's this: when the first debates start, we'll call that the beginning of the campaign season, right? We'll start it at then. Every time there's an accusation by a female candidate of a white male candidate attacking her womanhood, being a misogynist.
Oh, okay.
You
Yes.
have to, you have to go
Oh my
buy.
God.
You have to go buy a 6-pack and drink the whole thing.
What?
The day that report comes out.
Every time
Every
that
time.
happens.
So when 3 reports come out after one debate, 3
Russ
6-packs,
Fag.
drink
That's who
them
it
all.
was. Yeah, it was Russ Fag. Jake from Freedom Scoop has
Nice.
it. Yeah. Oh, U.S. Senator. Yeah. That was pretty great.
And that's a real last name?
That was his real last name. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think he won, but
I'm sorry.
I would love to have Senator Fag.
Is there not
That'd
a
be great.
responsibility, like, to just go and just legally have your name changed? Because I mean, what kind of family name is that anyway?
Right.
Like, is he come from a long line of stick gatherers?
Long line of fags.
Does he come
Yeah.
from a long line of stick gatherers or cigarette
His
rollers?
father was a fag. His grandfather was a fag. His father before him was a fag. Just fags everywhere.
My great-great-grandfather could collect 87 faggots of wood a day. We are
Oh, man.
proud fags.
That's right. Oh man. Yeah, that was good times.
Wow. And when was that?
That was just the last midterms.
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah, that was last year, right? Yeah.
That's the wonderful things you miss.
Yeah.
Thank you, LSD. But so, what do you think? Is that a decent drinking game? A 6-pack of beer every time an allegation of misogyny comes out?
I don't know about a 6-pack because I think it's going to be.
You think there's going to be too many?
2016 primary, was it? Are you sure? Jake from Freedom Scoop?
Come
I'm
on.
pretty sure. I thought it was last year.
don't you just by now assume that anybody that knows something knows more than you? They're
Yeah, but no, now I gotta look it up because I'm pretty sure it was just last year. Let's see.
Everybody watch out. John's pretty sure.
I'm Googling, Googling away. See, no, I was right.
But did he run
Uh,
in 2016 as well?
he might have.
See, if he did,
Son,
everybody's
what's a
right.
2018 Republican candidate who sought election to the U.S. Senate from Montana?
Okay, now look at.
Boom, live chat.
But did he run in 2000? Did he run in 2016? It's an
I'm
easy question.
looking.
Google would know. Did Russ Fagg run in 2016?
Republican primary for Montana's U.S. Senate seat decided which Republican would take on incumbent John Tester in a state that voted for Donald Trump in the 2016 election. So no, it doesn't say that he did here. This is from Ballotpedia.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, it just says 2018
Hmm.
and 2018.
He ran as a
Ran as a
judge.
judge. I didn't. Okay.
But who
Fair
really wants a fag judging people?
Wow.
Those shoes are completely wrong for that outfit. Get out of my courtroom. Come back when you're more decently dressed.
Poor
God.
Russ Fagg. I feel bad for Russ Fagg. Aw.
You know who I feel sorry for? Young Russ Fagg in school.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He could not have had an easy time.
Young Russ Fagg in school.
Oh, yeah.
You know why he wanted to be a judge?
Because he wanted to...
Retribution,
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
So he's just like, wait, didn't I go to high school with you?
You look oddly
No.
familiar.
Does the name Fag ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Guess where you're going.
Down. Wow. Yeah, that...
Going to pound me in the ass, prison.
See, now, would you not... Is it too authoritarian to say that if someone like that is running for office, especially an office such as being a judge, that they should have a psychological evaluation done? Because I inherently assume that that person dealt with a lot of fucking bullying when they were growing up, which can have some very damaging effects.
Well, I'm sure he was a lawyer before he was a judge. So he would have had to pass the bar exam and all that.
Yeah,
and
but
like someone would have caught it, you would think. Someone would have caught him being deranged.
Really? Really, John?
Probably.
I think
he seemed like an alright
I think
guy.
that potentially deranged people can get just about anywhere without, without checks in place. You know, sometimes
I'd have a beer with Russ Fagg.
Sometimes the checks and balances need to be used before somebody.
Sometimes it needs to be more check and less balance.
Right. Can we get 3 more checks on that, please?
That's true, Jake from Freedom Scoop. He was a fag before he was a lawyer. He was also a fag after.
I think he's been a fag all his life.
His entire life.
Yep, his entire life. He's been a fag since birth. He truly has been, and he knows it.
That's right.
You know,
everyone else knows it too.
This is not just some idea. This is just not some experiment. He's been a fag since day one, since conception. Actually, you know, he was conceived by a fag, to a fag, and it was a fag from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Wow, we're gonna get canceled.
No. We're talking about a candidate. I don't know why it would be.
Well, I'm making sure. Are the 2 G's coming across every time I say fag?
It's fag. Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Fag.
Born this way, nice, Jake. Born this way. Yes, he
right.
was. He was born.
Born to be fair.
Hey, I know you don't like talking about stuff that I like talking about, but I thought it was kind of interesting that Nancy Pelosi said today that she did not think it was a good idea to try and impeach Donald Trump.
Yeah, I agree with that.
which is kind of surprising coming from her.
Yeah.
She did say the reason was because, like, unless there was substantial evidence, bipartisan substantial evidence that, that would be one thing, but there really isn't up to this point, so it would
Yeah.
be a waste of time. And she said he's not worth it. He's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you call him a. Why don't you just call him a dick?
Well,
And
I mean, I think she thinks that he's about to be out of office anyway.
well, she did say that it was the one thing that he had done was brought the and I thought this was funny, brought the Democratic Party together and made it stronger. Yeah,
Bullshit.
and brought together and brought forward a host of candidates. She's really got people out in the country thinking, and that's a good thing.
God.
You know, yay Democrats who've got it together, who've got a strong party.
Yeah, no, they don't
They're
though.
allied. No, they really don't.
No, they're completely fractured.
There
There's
goes the
several factions.
monetization.
Yeah, it's a good thing we don't monetize.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't demonetize if it's not monetized.
But if you send me a private message, I will tell you where you can send money. If you've got some laying around, folks got bills to pay. I'm just saying.
That's
You
right.
know, you,
No, we'll monetize eventually, and
you,
we'll probably clean up our
you
act a little
think all
bit.
this gets this way for free?
Oh God,
Right. That's what I say
I
too.
can't
Dear
imagine
God.
yeah, what it would look like if it was.
Dear
Jesus.
God. Dear God. But so yeah, she. But I mentioned this off mic. I almost could imagine that her saying he's not worth it could almost be taken as a challenge by our Mr. Trump. For
Yeah,
he's like, I'm definitely worth it, right?
yeah. Fuck you.
Nobody does impeachment like I do. If you have an impeachment, I should be at the table. You want me there. I'm the most impeachable person I know. Nobody impeaches like Donald Trump. You want me at that table for impeachment.
That's right.
I'm good for impeachment.
God,
Could you?
it was never gonna happen though. It was never gonna happen. No matter how much they wanted it to happen, it wasn't going to. They just wasted millions of taxpayer dollars, probably billions.
Yep, and
Why not?
the direction it's going to go next is now once Mueller's done, and if there's and shows that there's nothing substantive there, now all the carrion birds are going to come around. All the
Hmm.
smaller scale judicial groups. New York. New York's going to is going to be delving into him for campaign and finance bullshit.
Oh yeah.
That's what that's what's going to happen next. There's going to be a feeding frenzy on all the little tidbits that Mueller has
Yeah.
pulled out, all the little strings that are dangling that he couldn't connect. So each one's going to be grabbing strings and see how far they can go with an individual string and find something that they can throw up against the wall.
And there's still going to be nothing.
More than likely. Now,
Nothing will stick.
but I will say, I got to say, when it's all said and done, I think it's just because that motherfucker is really goddamn good at separating himself from some shit.
Yeah.
He's really fucking good.
He's always been a good delegator, you know?
I mean, if he were to stand up at a podium and he's like, nobody does corruption like I do. If you want somebody to corrupt things, Donald
That'll
Trump
be a
is the
great
person
troll.
for corrupting this. I know corruption. The art of corruption, Donald Trump. That
The
will
art
be
of
my
corruption.
next bestseller.
God. He probably will write a book too once he leaves, or have one written, whatever.
He'll probably he'll probably do like a George R. Martin thing and do like a whole series of books.
And turn it into a TV show on HBO.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Call it House of Lard.
God.
Hey, maybe he'll get Tim Apple involved in it.
Tim Apple.
Yeah, Tim Apple.
He's probably in his phone as Tim Apple.
Well, you know what?
I've done stuff like that with people's names. And
After
like, here's how I know you
after
after your name.
after the little Tim Apple thing happened, after Trump said that, and the media, and for anybody who doesn't know, Trump was talking and Tim Cook was there from Apple, and Trump called him Tim Apple instead of Tim Cook, so the media jumped on it. And then
Yeah.
he denied that
Big
it had
nothing.
he denied that he said it. Video proved that he did. Then he came out and said, "Oh, I just said Cook real low in between the two." Video shows that he didn't. Then he finally came out and said, "Oh, I was saying Tim slash Apple." But anyway,
Yeah. He
but
should have
anyway,
led with that, honestly.
right. That's. But again, after the
Yeah.
first round of media talk about it, right after it happened, Tim Cook actually went and changed his name on Twitter to Tim and the Apple symbol. So it's not Tim Cook; it says Tim Apple now.
That's funny.
So, so I'm like,
At least it
okay,
took
he
him
was
to
giving
try.
prop. That's kind of giving props to Trump, in a sense. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, but I did tell you this off mic, and I'm going to reiterate it. I think that ultimately what that is that's like a mnemonic device that Donald Trump uses for because of the sheer amount of people that he meets and the amount of CEOs he meets, etc. He remembers them by first name, company, because he's made the
Yeah.
same gaffe before with others, called them by their
Yeah.
first name and then their company as the
Yeah.
last name. This is a mnemonic tool he uses, and I guess
It's
you
a
know
good idea.
because
Just yeah.
he's not as good off the cuff as maybe he used to be.
Mhm.
So that mnemonic has slipped out more often.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, because I think being the president calls for him to be on the spot a lot more than he
Hmm.
typically would have been in his normal business life.
What it is,
Because
he's probably more afraid of, saying something that the media is going to jump on that he accidentally says something that the media is going to jump on.
yeah,
So we're like, don't say, don't shit. You
right,
know.
but by this point, so we're 2 years in, right? And people, one of the things that we're supposed to be able to do as humans is learn from experience. You touch something hot, you learn eventually not to touch the hot thing, right?
Hmm.
So if he makes a gaffe, like it was just it's a gaffe. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it was a lie. It was just a gaffe.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he learned by now to just own the gaffe?
I don't think his ego will let him do that.
You think it's purely ego driven?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, but that to me that almost says that that would almost be saying that there's really no humility left in him.
Probably not.
Because
I
it's a
mean,
very
he's
small thing, a little gaffe like that even for a
yeah,
president, that's just a gaffe, right?
yeah.
So, it
I mean,
doesn't take much humility.
he's old and very wealthy. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of humility left. Humidity, humility.
There's not a lot of humidity left
Probably there's probably a lot
in the
more.
old greenhouse up there. It's been orange.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a little too much orange sunlight on there. Is
right.
that it?
Probably.
But it's those. I think it's those things that lead people. Like I was talking about the mnemonic device. He would normally. This is. If he is speaking more, that could be an impetus why he would use it accidentally more often. But it's those kind of things that lead people to start looking into: is it possible that this man is not completely together up in his brain?
Hmm.
But then I turn around and I listen to you, like almost logically explain some of the things he does in a premeditated way.
Yeah.
Like this is the plan. And it's like, is it possible he could actually be doing these things? Does he have that much foresight to lay down this path work? I
Well,
mean,
I mean, he's been doing this a long time, right? I mean, especially being in real estate. Those are long-term projects. You don't just sign a deal in a day or two. There's all kinds of shit to go through.
I guess it's I've always gotten the sense from him though that even in his business life, I've never felt like it was really truly him making things happen. It always seemed to me like he had a platform of people that he stood on. You know,
Oh,
he
yeah, of
stood on
course.
the shoulders and work of others, and he was the guy that walked in and finalized the deal and took all the credit. But you know, I mean, I
I
know
don't know.
that.
He seems to me like the type of guy who like likes to not micromanage, but like be well informed on what's going on from each of his people. You know, like he probably has a lot of meetings with this particular group of people. Had to say, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that. Get with this person, do this, and then they would go and do that.
Okay, now see, it's you say that, and
Hmm.
then so that instantly makes me think back to an argument I've made before that if that was the case, you know, how does he presently claim so much was going on in his organization that he knew nothing about? Right?
I don't
Like
know. He
things
probably
that,
didn't say specifically, like right when Cohen was talking about, oh, did the president, they were saying, did the president ever tell you, to do this? He's like, no, I just knew what he wanted me to do. I think it's more like that, which is kind of like, you know, do what needs to be done, do whatever you need to do to
well,
make this work, to
you
make
know,
this particular thing work. How do you do it is up to you.
right. So and thus doing the smart thing and keeping his distance from things that occur, right? So that
Right.
he can keep his hands clean and you know, so that's where that's where he puzzles me. That's
Yeah.
where he truly puzzles me is, you know, I don't know, saying that he doesn't know things that happen. And if that's true, the real question is, but are you surprised that that
Yeah.
happened? No.
Yeah. I don't think
That,
anyone's asked him that, have they?
no, I don't think so. Do you,
It's
you know,
probably a good idea.
but wouldn't that be an interesting question to ask him? Do any of these things in your organization happening surprise you?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you say,
He
just get
probably
it,
wouldn't be ready for that.
no, he wouldn't. You know, now he would twist it into basically, I think that he would turn that question into pointing out those that have turned their back on their loyalty to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would. That's how he would twist that
And
question
that is what he
without.
does. As soon as someone's disloyal, he just completely attacks them. It's like he's always been a piece of shit.
No, you
He's never been any
demoralize.
good. Always been a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Forever.
right.
It has always been that way.
He's always been that
You
way,
know.
even though I
Yeah.
was using him.
Right.
Right? He was, you know, he was on my payroll. Okay, now you confuse me even more. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's yeah.
what kind of great businessman are you if you have pieces of shit in your employee that you know are pieces of shit? It's so random with him. I can't peg him, and I don't know that anybody's been able to.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be enough to keep him out of 2020, is it?
I still think he's got it. Really. I mean, especially if so we have the two Biden and Sanders are the two highest polled people. Biden, I think, is just too boring, other than his gaffes once in a while, to where Trump is just going to obliterate him. And then with Bernie, that would be really tough. But I think Bernie's lost a lot of support from the 2016 election. He probably gained some of it back by running again, but there's a lot of people who were pro Bernie who are no longer pro Bernie.
Well,
And there's a lot of people who are pro Bernie because they were anti Hillary.
were they?
A lot of
But
those people voted for Trump.
do you think Bernie lost those people, or do you think the establishment lost them for him by
No, I think he lost them.
undercutting him?
I think he lost them by bending the knee to Hillary and saying, vote for Hillary instead, vote for Hillary instead, when he was the anti-establishment candidate the entire time. Whether you think that's the right move to make or not, it did not sit right with people.
I
Not sit
know,
well with people.
and that's what kills me because that's an expectation of the party. If you're going to run for the
Right.
party, you know, because you know, but they asked Donald Trump that same question, and he pulled Bernie when he answered it. and went against what the establishment would want. And he's like, and everybody
But
loved
he's a
that.
much bigger, yeah, he's
So
a much
Bernie had
bigger
pulled
like personality.
or he pulled the opposite of Bernie. So if Bernie had
Yeah,
pulled what Trump did and just said, "Fuck Hillary," don't vote for either one, people would
yeah,
have stayed with him.
yeah.
I thought the establishment hurt him more than anything because
Oh, they
they
did.
they played against him all the way
Yeah,
up and to the point that they knocked
absolutely.
him out of the race, and that was
But
shitty.
he still had a massive following even
He
after.
did,
It
yeah.
wasn't until he said, he shilled Hillary that people started leaving him.
Well, what should he have told? So, in that
I don't
situation,
know.
what should
He
he have
was in
told
a
his supporters? What to do with your vote? Right? What do they do with their vote if they don't cast it for the party he was running for? That's the question, right?
Yeah, no, I mean he was in a tough spot. I don't blame him for it. I think he made the move that he thought was best at the time, but it's not going to help him this time. I don't think he should run this time.
Really?
So, well, yeah, I said it before. I thought he wasn't going to. And I don't think he should.
Well, the poll you were quoting earlier shows that he's an early punch out lead.
Yeah, I
You
don't think he
know,
can maintain it though. I think it's just that initial excitement of him running. Like, oh, you're a familiar face. You fought against Trump. We like you. You know.
well, I have to say this. You know, one thing that we mentioned Andrew Yang. Now, if Andrew Yang is running, does talk automation, does start this conversation during the campaign, which it's
Hmm.
expected he will,
Mm.
that actually could feed Bernie if Yang isn't pulling the support from people, but his ideas are being heard because one of Bernie's
Hmm.
policies is 2 free years of college.
Think we might have a Bernie Yang DNC ticket.
No, I don't know about a Bernie Yang DNC ticket. I mean, it's possible, but I think talk of automation, people lose, and the potential for people losing their jobs would prop up a proclamation of I want to give everyone 2 free years of college. Then people are going to say, well, hey, if this guy is anywhere near right and things are going to be automated out, 2 years of college would be a good thing for me, right? Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying there? That's just one of Bernie's policies, but it's a strong one in my opinion. A lot of parents want their kids to have 2 free years of college. The savings alone for parental college budgets is phenomenal there.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up the actual poll results, but I think actually if Yang doesn't make it, because he's got a lot of initial support right now. I was trying to figure out how much. Um, if he was to do that and then drop out and offer his support to Bernie, that might push Bernie up. I can't find a good.
Well, Yang Yang's biggest problem, in my opinion, is going to be his target audience
Oh yeah,
because
people in tech usually.
well,
Um,
no, I think more along the lines he's going to have his primary focus is going to be on the two youngest generations right now. Generation Y and Generation Z.
yeah, but I think only some of Generation Z is old enough to vote.
Well, he's going to have to target. I mean, there's millennials. Millennials are going to be a big part of his target audience, but the older crowd is going to be less likely to break from their mindset that automation is going to take them out of their jobs because a lot of them are going to be doing jobs that they don't feel automation is going to sneak in. But of course, I guess a factory worker from up in Detroit might argue that, right? Some of the older school folks who are seeing it happen. So I don't know. The
Mm.
UBI, though, that UBI is going to tickle the fancy of a lot of people, and that will definitely tickle the fancy of the younger generation that wants more for less work,
Yeah,
because that is very
that would
common
be
in
a
the younger
terrible
generations.
idea.
It would be, but do you think it would be a terrible idea ultimately if it were structured right? If it was, because you have mentioned in the past that the
Hmm.
UBI is not the most horrible idea.
It needs to be. It has the potential to be. It needs safeguards. I mean, it needs to not destroy the economy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like yeah, I've mentioned in the context of the fair tax policy.
Right.
Well, with that, the taxes are different, so it's not about how much money you earn determines how much you pay. It's how much money you spend determines
Right.
how much taxes you pay.
Right.
So your tax burden is on you, and then
Sure.
yeah, you get a UBI. They call it a tax probate, but it's essentially a UBI, and I think that's a better system because you always have people. We have a service industry, service economy, and so people are spending money constantly. You spend money every day, all the time, even if you don't work, you're still spending money.
Right.
So I think it's a much better system than it would be just taxing someone's income. And whoops, if you don't work, you still get your UBI, but you're not taxed. So you're not paying into it, but you're still receiving it.
Do you do you believe that our American culture and or our American capitalism, because I believe our capitalism is a little bit different than most of the rest of the world. We have some, our capitalism is, I don't know. To me, it's different. It's hard to
In
explain.
what way?
I don't. It's
We probably have more cronyism, but I
maybe
don't even
that's
know if
what it
that's true.
is. Um,
I don't even know if that's true though. It might be.
it's very miserly, I think, to a certain extent.
Well, our capitalists aren't taxed nearly as much
Hmm.
on every single breath they take, like in Europe.
But I mean, is our American culture in any way, shape, or form ready for something like a UBI? Are we even ready for something like the fair tax? I think the fair tax, yeah, we could probably get used to very quickly. But
Yeah,
are we ready for UBI? I mean, are we responsible enough as an American society to handle a UBI?
I think generally yes. I think you'll find like initially you'll have a lot of people drop out of the workforce. I think you'll find a lot of people say, you know what, I'm just going to take this and take a year off or whatever and go do something. And then they're going to quickly realize that they can't survive off of that small amount. They're basically just going to pay their bills and have no money for anything else, and maybe not even pay all their bills. Right? So like, well, shit, I guess I got to go back to work. So I think within for the first maybe 1 to even 5 years, you're going to see a dip in the workforce, but then it'll start going back and stabilizing again. In my opinion, I'm no economist, but that's just how I see it.
I would have to hypothesize that to the determining factor of knowing when we were ready for a UBI would be the point where we are able to get our citizenry off a welfare program.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what that would do. There would be
Well,
no
no, no,
welfare.
no. But
It would
what I
just be that.
right, but what I'm saying is, we would know we were prepared, we were in the right place for a UBI where we could handle it responsibly, if the people that are currently on the welfare system are grow out of that, find jobs, do things that get them off of the welfare system to where we can get rid of it, and then institute a UBI. Does that make sense? Like that we're
Yeah,
responsible enough to not, as a citizenry, to not need a welfare
I
system.
mean, are you saying I have no one on welfare?
Well,
Because I doubt, I very
the
much doubt that's
elderly
why.
would be on Social Security and Medicare, but I'm talking about the food stamps, EBT benefits. You know,
Yeah, I don't think you'll
that's
ever, as long as it's there, I don't think you'll ever get everyone off of it. 'Cause like I said, there are people who are just, the welfare queens. They just,
well,
been
even
on
if we
work for their
could
whole life, and then they just see no reason to get off of it.
even if we could reduce the numbers of people on it far enough to
Yeah,
justify removing the program,
I can see that. Yeah,
then that way the UBI doesn't become a replacement for welfare. It just becomes a new standard of living for people.
yeah,
That would show responsibility as a citizenry because we don't have that now.
no,
Because just like
certainly
you said, we have too many people that abuse the we'll call them socialist programs
not.
that we have in this country. I mean, severely abuse them.
hmm
But I don't know. A UBI, I think it's a little far fetched to imagine that we could put one of those in place. But the conversation, again, that's another topic that he's going to be bringing up that is going to have resounding or repercussions as we go forward into more elections over the next 2 decades. I think that conversation is probably going to last longer
Yeah,
than the automation conversation, because automation will probably mass automation is going to start happening at a more rapid pace. I think that'll happen before we get to the point where we can accept a UBI.
yeah, maybe
We got to
makes
get rid
sense.
of 2 generations. I think we've got to pass out of 2 generations and get more people that are, well, not working because they can't find a job because of the
Yeah.
robots. Skynet won't let me get a job.
Yeah, your social credit score won't be enough like they have in China. Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
So, John, I am going to watch out for J. Edgar to get back to me. So we're going to be planning
Yeah.
this thing, and we're gonna have that gun debate. We're going to have a little talk about guns. I think we're going to reach out to our dual audiences and see if we can't pull some questions in that they would like answered, or that kind of thing. We'll see how that goes. But we don't have a date scheduled, but we'll have one relatively soon. Welfare right
Yeah.
now. Oh, hold
Yeah,
on.
we
Jake
should either
Jake
do it
jumped
on.
in.
Well, okay, I would say we should either do it on our channel where we can do it live, or if J. Edgar should do it on his live though. Live debates would be awesome.
Oh, well, that would make me nervous. I might not be able to speak, John.
Oh my god. 1.3 thousand people a year. Holy shit. Yeah, so you'd absolutely do it live.
Yeah.
Gotta do it live.
Welfare right now is $1.1 trillion, about $3,000 per person per year. See,
Yeah, and UBI is
so
less than that.
right,
I
so
mean,
we could conceivably get a UBI of $2,000 per person, and still save money from on the welfare system.
yep.
So maybe we are ready for it, but there's not no. There's too many old school. Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
get out there and get a job yourself. You gotta get your government to pick up your pants for you. You
Fucking
want
right.
you want us to wipe your ass when you take a shit?
I'm already that old man.
No, you just
I'm
smell like
already that way.
him. Hey, John, I'm about done talking about this. We'll
Yeah,
get
I'm
some
pretty sick of talking
information.
to you.
So who knows? Maybe Friday we'll have some better idea of when this big time gun debate is going to go off.
Hell yeah.
It's
Super
really
pumped.
it's really not going to be a debate. It's really just going to be me looking like a fool, I'm sure. But
I thought you were going to be more confident and be like, it's really just going to be me kicking his ass.
nobody does a fool like I do. When I walk in a room, people know the fool has come in the room. I am nobody's best fool. I'm everybody's best fool.
That's right.
Hey,
Jesus.
John, if anybody were looking for us, where would they find us?
I don't know why they would be, but I guess if they really wanted to, they can find us on Twitter at the Gin Gap P, and they can find us on Discord in our Discord server down below in the description. There should be a link. If it doesn't work, blame Robert.
Hey, and if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you want to hang around for a while and watch what we're doing, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hey, and if you want us to have fun people on the show, reach out to your congressman, reach out to your representative, send them an email and tell them just how desperately we want to roast them on the
Fuck yeah.
show. That would be fun. That would be fun. And if anybody can get the Orange Man on here, I'm itching to say hello.
Oh God.
But
I think
anyway.
yeah.
John, I'm going to get the hell out of here. You go have yourself a good night, folks. We'll see you Friday for our regular time at 8:30 right here on.
Yeah.
What do we run this show on, John?
YouTube.
YouTube. That's it.
YouTube.
That's it. Your
Got on the good old YouTube.
Yeah. All right,
Good
folks.
old YouTube.
John, have yourself a good one, folks. Have yourself a good night.
Yep.
We will catch you later.
See you guys.